Hi everyone, welcome. So today we are going to talk about applications of quadratic equation. So by the end of this video, you'll be able to solve real world problem involving quadratic equation. So we are going to begin with some example here. So here is our first example. The sum of reciprocals of two consecutive even number is 7 over 24. Find the numbers. So here we are looking for two consecutive even numbers. So what we can do is we can first assume those two numbers. So that's where we begin. So let the numbers be x, and if x is the first even number mean number like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. So the next number, the consecutive even number after 2 is a 4, after 4 is a 6. So it is 2 more than the first number. So the other number will be x plus 2. So these are the two consecutive even numbers. That's what we have assumed here. So we need to find the value of x, and the other number will be x plus 2. The question says sum of the reciprocals. Now, when we say sum, it is the addition. Reciprocal of x is 1 over x. And reciprocal of x plus 2 is 1 over x plus 2. So sum of the reciprocals is equal to 7 over 24. So now we need to solve this equation and find the value of x. Now, a couple of things here. The first thing is x cannot be 0. If x is 0, the equation is not defined because you cannot have x in the denominator, 0 in the denominator. Similarly, this denominator will be 0 when x equal to negative 2. So x cannot be negative 2. Also, this is the equation with fraction. So in order to solve equation with fraction, we need to multiply throughout by LCD, the least common denominator. Since the denominator are not the same, it will be the product of these three. So that will be 24 times x plus 2. 24 times x plus 2. That is the LCD. So we have to multiply throughout by LCD and solve this. So that means this first term, we multiply by this. So 24x times x plus 2 multiplied to the first term, which is 1 over x, and then plus, we have to multiply the second term by the same, 24x times x plus 2. That is multiplied to the second term, so times 1 over x plus 2 equal to 7 over 24. We have to multiply that by LCD, which is 24x times x plus 2. Because by doing this, all denominator will vanish. So in next step, you will see that you will not have any denominator. In the first term, x in the denominator and this x in the numerator cancel. You are left with 24 times x plus 2. 24 times x plus 2. And then plus, here x plus 2 cancels. We just have 24x equal to, on the right hand side, 24 cancels. We get 7x multiplied to x plus 2. So now let's simplify this. In the first term, we distribute that 24. So 24 times x, 24x. And then 24 times 2, 48. Plus we have a 24x there, equal to, on the right hand side, if we distribute that 7x, it will be 7x squared plus 7x times 2 is a 14x. So furthermore, we get 24x, 24x plus 24x, 48x, plus 48 equal to 7 x squared plus 14. So if I want to make one side 0, then on the right hand side we have 7x squared, then plus 14x. So now we need to move this 48x to the other side, so it will be minus 48x. And then we also need to move this 48 to the other side, minus 48. So we almost have the quadratic equation here. So what we have on right hand side is, if you look here, there is a 7x squared, and then 14x minus 48x. 14x minus 48x is negative 34x. And then minus 48, on the left hand side, there is a 0. So that means we can write that as 7x squared minus 34x minus 48 equal to 0. So we get the quadratic equation because we are looking at the application of quadratic equation. So here we got the quadratic equation. Now we can solve this equation by any method we want. You can factor it and solve it. You can use the completing square method. You can use the quadratic formula. So you can use any method and you can solve this. I'm going to use the factoring method. So in factoring method, what we do is we multiply this first and the last term. So 7 times negative 48 is negative 336. We have to find two factors of negative 336 that will add up to negative 34. So it will be 8 and negative 42, because 8 times negative 42 is negative 336, and also 8 minus 42 is negative 34. So we can rewrite this one using these numbers. So we can write that as 7x squared plus 8x minus 42x minus 48 equal to 0. Now there are 4 terms, so we can factor by grouping. We can make 2 groups like this. In the first group, you have x common. In the first group, you have x common, so you get 7x plus 8. In the second group, you have a negative 6 common, 6, 7, 42, and 6, 8, 48. We'll have a plus there because we are factoring this negative out. Because negative 6 times negative 7, negative 42, negative 6 times positive 8, that will be negative 48. First one is negative and positive, negative. Second will be negative and positive, negative. Now we still have those 2 groups. And in these 2 groups, you can see 7x plus 8 is common. 7x plus 8 is common. And from the first, you are left with x. And from the second, you are left with 6. So we completely factored it now. Now, in order to find the value of x, we equate each factor to 0. So we say either 7x plus 8 equal to 0 or x minus 6 equal to 0. So meaning of that is, from the first, you get x equal to negative 8 over 7, which is not an even number. So this is not the true solution. This is extraneous root. This is not the true solution or true root. But if you look at the second, we get x equal to 6, which is the even number. That means one of the numbers that we are looking for is 6. The numbers were x and x plus 2. So x is 6. So the other one is x plus 2 or 6 plus 2, that is 8. So the numbers are, 6 and 2. So these are the 2 consecutive even numbers that we are looking for. If we take their reciprocal and add them together, it will be 7 over 24. Meaning of that is 1 over 6 and 1 over, this is 8 by the way. This is 8. 6 plus 2, 8. So the numbers are 6 and 8. So if we take the reciprocal of each of these, it will be 1 over 6 and 1 over 8. And when you add 1 over 6 and 1 over 8, the result will be 7 over 24. So this is how we can use quadratic equation. Here we got the quadratic equation, you can see. right? We can use quadratic equation to solve the problem like this one. So this is one of the applications of quadratic equation. Now we are going to look at the second example. So here is the question. This question is quite long and very interesting. It involves a little bit of geometry. Okay, let's first read through the problem. Then we can understand what is going on in the problem. A wire 48 centimeter long is cut into two pieces. Okay, each piece is bent to form a square. What should be the length of each piece of wire so that the sum of the area of the squares is equal to 80 square centimeters? So first, let's try to represent this using a diagram. So first, there is a wire, and the wire is 48 centimeter long, 48 centimeter like that. And this is cut into two pieces. Okay, this is cut into two pieces. So I don't know where it is cut, but if it is cut here, say for example, the first part or the first length is X. That means the second part will be total is 48. So this will be 48 minus X. 48 minus X. Now, after this, what is done is each piece, the first piece is bent to form a square, and also the second piece is bent to form a square. So when you bend the first one to form a square, maybe a square is like this. This is the first square. The total length is X. The total is length. Total length of this square is X. Or total perimeter is X. That means one side will be 1/4 of it, or X over 4. Similarly, the second one, the second part, or the remaining wire, is also bent to form another square. Say, for example, this is the square. Suppose that is the second square. Now, the total length of the square is 48 minus X. It is divided on 4 sides. That means length of each side will be 48 minus X divided by 4. So that will be the size of or side of each squares. Now what they have said is, if we find the area of this one, the first square, and area of the second square, and add them together, the sum of the area will be 80. So now let's write that. Area of the first square, to find the area of the square, we square the side is X over 4. So it will be X over 4 squared. Similarly, the area of this one is 48 minus X divided by 4 squared. So if we find the area like that and add them together, addition plus sign in the middle, the total will be 80. Total will be 80. So now we need to solve this equation and find the value of X so that we know the length of each piece. What should be the length of each piece of the wire? So how much is that X, and how much will be 48 minus X? Okay, the first one here, let's simplify now. It is X squared over 4 squared is 16. Here we have 48 minus X, quantity squared in the numerator, and in the denominator 4 squared is a 16 equal to 80. So first what we're going to do is we're going to remove this denominator by multiplying throughout by LCD. So here we just have a 16. So multiply throughout by 16. Multiply the first one by 16, second by 16, and also on the right hand side by 16. So on the first, X 16 and 16 cancel. We get X squared. In the second, 16, 16 cancel. We get 48 minus X quantity squared equal to 80 times 16 is 1280. So now let's simplify the left hand side. X squared. 48 minus X quantity squared is 48 minus X. times 48 minus x, which is equal to 1280. X squared. Here we can FOIL now. 48 times 48. If we multiply 48 and 48, we get 2304. 2304. 48 times negative x is negative 48x. X times 48, again, that is with negative, so negative 48x. And here, x plus x, that is x squared, equal to 1280. So we are almost getting that standard form of the quadratic equation. So let's see, in next step, here we have x squared, and here we have x squared, that is 2x squared. 2x squared. Here we have 48x, negative 48x, and here also negative 48x. So that is negative 96x. Negative 96x. And then here we have 2340. If we move 1280 to the left-hand side, then it will be 2304 minus 1280, which will be 1024. Equal to 0. So we are getting that quadratic equation. But here you can see that you can divide each of these terms by 2 so that it will be a little easy to solve. So if we divide the first term by 2, it will be x squared. If we divide the second term by 2, negative 48x. And if we divide the third one by 2, it will be 512 equal to 0. So what we obtain here is a quadratic equation. So now we can solve this quadratic equation by any method we want and find the value of x. I think the easiest one will be factoring. So the leading coefficient is 1. 1 times 512 is 512. From 512, we have to find two numbers that will add up to negative 48. So it will be negative 16 and negative 32. Negative 16 times negative 32 is positive 512. Negative 16 and negative 32 add up to negative 48. That means when we factor this quadratic equation, we'll get x minus 16 and x minus 32, which is equal to 0. So we can say now either x minus 16 equal to 0 or x minus 32 equal to 0, which implies x equal to, from the first, 16, or from the second, it is 32. So one value of x is 16, other one is 32. And also if you add these two, it will be a total of 48. That means the first one is 16, then the other one is 48 minus 16, that is 32. So the length of each piece of wire are 16 and 32 centimeters. So we can write, so length of each piece are 16 centimeter and 32 centimeter. So that is the answer to this question. Okay, so this wire is 48. Okay, so when you cut here, one piece should be 16 centimeter, the other should be 32, so that when you bend and form this square, the sum of the area of the squares will be equal to 80. So this is another example of the application of quadratic equation. And you can clearly see when we change the question to algebraic form, here we got that quadratic equation. Once you get that quadratic equation, you can solve by any method you want. Here, I use the factoring method. So this is how we can use quadratic equations to solve the real world problem. So that is all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you find this helpful.